because I told you not to yell at her.
I would never be mean to Mutzy. She's a sweet little old lady of a dog.
Sweet. I think she's pretty salty.
She needs to be, sometimes I think she needs to be punted over the back fence. Yes.
No.
She's a little old lady and she knows it. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Robyn.
And it's December 1st.
Oh.
Wow.
That's a lot of pressure.
Our 40th episode.
Yes.
It's the Ronald Reagan of our episodes.
Wow.
You like
That's
that?
Again, a lot of pressure.
Ronald Wilson Reagan, the 40th president of the United States.
It's literally the crack of dawn.
Greatest president of my lifetime.
I'm feeling anxiety.
Why?
I'm just kidding. Greatest president?
Of my lifetime, yes.
You think?
Yeah. No question. 2 terms.
I know my peepaw would agree.
I know your peepaw would agree. Your peepaw was an amazing man, and I never met him.
What's new in your world?
I don't have a bunch of new stuff, but like COVID is on my nerves, and I gotta be honest with you.
You're sick to death.
Oh my God! Pardon the pun here, but I'm sick to death. I'm just tired of talking about it. Tired of hearing about it. It's just, and I know. It's killed a gazillion people. It's worldwide. There's probably going to be a lot more people get sick of it. Hell, I could be carrying it. I don't know, but I'm over it.
We read that article this morning about the El Paso mayor, and he talks about COVID fatigue having...
Oh, clarify for the people. We live in El Paso County.
But no, this was El Paso, Texas. That I was reading about.
See, when you say El Paso, my brain,
no,
I have to stop.
Because El Paso, Texas had the huge surge,
right.
And they were in the national news for having morgues in the stadiums.
Jesus.
But he talked about that they actually drilled down and did contact tracing, and he said, it's COVID fatigue, that people are so sick of COVID that they're cutting corners, they're not wearing their masks, they're not social distancing, they're doing things that, like, they're just widening their circle a little bit. And then he talked about that when they drilled down for a week in November and did contact tracing, which the United States is not doing nearly enough of compared to other places, that over 55% of their cases were in big box stores. Big box stores are deemed necessary.
Yeah.
And so that's a problem. And like I was telling you, I went to your favorite store the other day.
Oh, do tell. What is my favorite store?
I know
you went to Black Rifle Coffee's gun store in Bernie, Texas?
I know how much you love Walmart. I went to Walmart. I know. Don't judge me. You don't know my life.
Oh, there is judgment. Oh, first off, one, yes, I do. And 2, there is massive judgment going on.
I had to buy stuff like aluminum foil and toothpaste, and I get tired of paying double and triple at the grocery store, which is also a national chain. But anyway, so I went there, and it dawned on me that they're deemed quote-unquote necessary, but nothing was different inside that store except most of us had masks on. But of course, people are touching their masks and rubbing their nose and pulling their mask down, itching their nose, putting it back up. So masks are useless when people are not actually using them correctly. But, and don't at me because I know that's right. Like, we need to use them correctly.
Right.
That's it. Then they make a difference. But there was nothing different. They weren't wiping carts down. There was no limit to how many people were in there like they do at Trader Joe's. They weren't wiping conveyor belts down. They were really just stocking shelves. They weren't, like, everybody's touching the nasty little credit card thing because a lot of Walmart lines don't allow cash now. And so it just made me aware that everything's the same in there, even though nothing's the same out the doors.
Right.
So it doesn't surprise me that 55-60% of cases are happening in big box stores while mom and pops are dying.
Stay away from Walmart, y'all. Walmart's evil. I have lived, I don't remember, I lost track of the years now. But I'm a rough decade of being Walmart free. And
but you go to Sam's Club.
You can do it if you try.
Thing. No, you go to Sam's Club.
It's mentally different, though.
But
I don't feel like I need to take a shower when I've been to Sam's Club.
It is not different.
People, okay, so you and I lived in the same town before. Some people, when you say you need something, a toothpaste, dishwasher, whatever.
I'm going to go to the Walmart.
I'm going to go to the Walmart. Stop for a second. All you got to do, just stop for a second. Think of another place that might sell that same thing. Is there a mom and pop place in town? Even though you might pay 20 more cents.
If it's 20 more cents, I'll always choose the mom and pop.
Hell yeah.
But if I'm going to pay $8 for aluminum foil at a national grocery store or $2.50 at Walmart, I have to actually like.
I suppose that with national grocery stores, I can see your point.
Yeah.
However, but if it's something, if there's a hardware store in town that's locally owned and you need
Absolutely, Ace Hardware, my favorite.
Yeah,
they're franchises.
If there's a nut or a bolt or a screwdriver that you've got to have, and they sell it at the local place, don't go buy the cheap Chinese-made crap at Walmart. Just don't. And besides, they give you COVID anyway. You know, mom and pop folks ain't trying to give you COVID. Also, you're talking about wearing masks. It does crack me up, and I hate having to do it. I'll be honest with you. You can't breathe in the damn things.
You can breathe.
But it cracks
I'm sorry,
me up.
I had to correct that because there are people out there that are like, you can't breathe. You're going to damage your lung. No, you're not. Unless you are wearing
You can breathe. It's just a pain.
Yeah.
But when I see people that don't have it above their nose, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Really, people?
Yeah. And if they're touching their face and they're touching their eyes and they're wiping their nose on the back of their hand and then they're putting it back up, like, you're not doing it right.
And I still see people driving in a vehicle by themselves with a mask on.
I judge that less because I think maybe they're going from point A to B, and maybe it actually has dawned on me that maybe they know that the more you touch the mask, the more you are transferring germs from one thing to the other. So part of me laughs, but part of me is like, maybe they're actually doing it right. Not by having it on in the car, but by touching it fewer times.
I like to take my mask off dramatically as I exit the store, like I'm leaving the OR on an episode of
Grey's Anatomy.
And and I've got a flowing locks of hair, and I'm walking out to inform the family that I just saved their daughter's life.
As long as you're not one of the ones who flings it off dramatically and literally flings it, because I see them so often in the parking lot that I'm like, really?
That's gross.
Yeah, it's like seeing a dirty diaper.
Or, other things.
Yeah.
So gross.
Yeah. So, yes, shop local. I'm getting all the Christmas presents locally.
Yes.
Not Amazon.
Nope. Not Amazon, not big box.
Nope. Shop locally. Be aware there's not a bubble around the big box that's going to prevent you from getting COVID. Oh, another one here in El Paso County, where we live. Two of the biggest outbreaks in the past week have been Costco's. Like literal outbreaks. Costco's. I was going to go to Costco on Saturday, and I read that Saturday morning, and I was like, guess we don't need those Kirkland protein bars.
No, we do not.
But again, they're really not doing anything. You've been in there with me. They have the little dots where you stand when you check out, and that is about it.
Yeah.
So
the Costco here is not the worst experience in the world. I've seen worse. So,
I love Costco for a big box store. I'll tell you, I love it.
It's like Miracle Max said. I've seen worse, but
Yeah. So that's COVID. Got that out of the way. Wear your mask. Be part of the solution so we can get through with this.
Texas A&M football is number 5 in the nation. Should be number 4. Ohio State hasn't played anyone. That's all I've got on that.
What's number 1?
Alabama. Frickin' I hope LSU plays.
I just wanted to hear you say that.
Nobody likes Alabama. You
Tide.
can pick up a rock and throw it into a random crowd anywhere in any other state in the nation and hit somebody that hates Alabama.
People really hate Alabama.
Well, we're tired of them. It's Bama fatigue.
I
can't be mad at them. I mean, if I was Nick Saban, I'd be doing the same thing. But the guy you're not going to want to be, and whenever Nick Saban does retire, is whoever replaces Nick Saban. Because if you have a 10-2 season and you don't go to a natty in a couple of years, then they're going to be wanting your job.
When you start talking about stuff like that, I feel like I'm having a stroke because I know you're speaking English, but I'm like, these words don't make any sense to me.
A natty is a national championship.
Well, yeah, but you were also talking about somebody that I don't know.
Nick Saban
I don't
is the
care.
head coach.
No, you don't even have to tell me because I really don't care.
And while I dislike them strongly, you have to respect the ability and the talent there. I mean, best football team in the nation. They could probably beat most NFL teams, but Again,
I feel like I'm having a stroke. Can we move on to?
Yeah.
Can we go back to COVID?
No. I don't want to go back to COVID. Let's go back to something just as fun as that. Let's talk about Alzheimer's. So, for those that don't know, I had to make a quick trip to Texas. I just got back the other day. We buried my grandfather. He would have been 90 on the 27th. But he'd been living with Alzheimer's for the last 8 years or so, something like 6, 7, 8 years, not knowing exactly how long. Yeah. I very distinctly remember his 80th birthday we had for him, and he was, I was not displaying symptoms at that time, but it wasn't long after that.
Yeah.
And he'd been in a nursing home, and I had not seen him in the year of 2020 at least awake. I saw him early in 2020, and I walked into his room, and he was asleep, and I left him alone.
Because you couldn't go see people in nursing homes.
Right, and then COVID hit, and you couldn't go see him.
Yeah.
So my mom was on point for that, and he did pass, and I had to go bury him. But
there's good news on the Alzheimer's front.
there is good news. They have. Thank you for pointing that out. They have come up with. I believe, did you say the Brits and the Swiss? Swedish. Excuse me. One of those S countries has come up with a blood test to determine your potential for having it in the future. So not that you would have it immediately right now, but I'm in my early 20s. So let's say that I get it and I get the blood test, and now I'm getting a look.
Honey, if you think you're in your early 20s, I don't think we need a blood test.
So a man like me in my early 20s, if I go ahead and get the blood test now, maybe with like an 89% accuracy, which that's pretty high.
Yeah.
Those
Well,
are
we were talking about it because you were the one who found that yesterday. And on the one hand, it's scary. Like, do you want to know something so awful? But on the other hand, if you know it, then you can do everything in your power to prevent it. And the head of the Alzheimer's Society said that the biggest challenge with Alzheimer's is that we don't catch it early enough to do things that actually work. So if this test helps do that.
7 or 8 years when I turn 30, I'll get tested for
Again, honey, if you think that you're 23 years old, we don't need a blood test.
Honey.
But it is cool. It's also scary because, as you pointed out, the potential for misuse by insurance companies, employers.
Yeah, that's my biggest concern.
Yeah.
Like and that this is not just Alzheimer's. This is
anything.
Any condition that anybody could have, men, women, black, white, green, indifferent. Any condition that you may have that's a potential pre-existing condition could, like, future employers not hire you, insurance companies not insure you, that sort of thing. I mean, and I know that people are going to say that it's illegal for them to do that. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Absolutely.
So,
there needs to be some teeth in
right.
HIPAA if that's the case, and it needs to even be around insurance companies. But yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. To me, Alzheimer's is so devastating. You lost your grandfather. I lost both my grandparents to it.
Right.
It's a devastating, cruel disease. And I think it's one that, if it's not cured in our lifetime, it can be managed in our lifetime. And that's pretty exciting. So
I hope so. Like, yeah, if you can take the right medication and stay on track and do whatever. But if I have a deal made with a couple of people is if I'm laying in a nursing home.
No, don't go there.
Okay.
So, yeah, don't go there. So that's the news on Alzheimer's. And actually, that's one of the best national or international organizations to donate to is the Alzheimer's Foundation.
I may start running races for them. That may be what I start doing. I need a new motivation anyway.
I don't know if you remember Shannon that we went to high school with, but she and her husband, her mother-in-law passed away early from, she had early onset Alzheimer's, and they run pretty much every year in one of the races in the Metroplex area.
I'm going to have to connect with them.
Yeah, so that's a great organization. They have very low overhead as far as big organizations.
That's a big concern for me.
Yeah, so that's a good one, and it directly goes to funding, which is obviously pretty powerful.
So in good news, we've had several downers right there. In good news, in happy, like cool news, we have new monkeys. Not we. But man, the world.
I wish we had new monkeys.
That would be awesome. We, the human race, has discovered a monkey species in Myanmar, formerly Burma.
In a volcano.
Fire
monkeys.
Fire monkeys.
Yes, fire monkey. Okay, it's not an active volcano because fire monkeys would be super cool.
How awesome would that be if they threw fire at people? Instead of their own poop, they were throwing fire.
Right. No, they discovered a new monkey, which is awesome because even as we are, I don't know, hurting the earth with so many of our practices, there are still species out there that we don't even know about yet.
So I read, and the problem I had with looking this up was...
You had a problem with a monkey?
Yes. Well, no.
Fire monkey.
Every single article I read was like, they're already endangered. There are only 200 to 300 of these left. And I was like, we just found them. How do we know that?
Can we just be excited about them for
Thank
a minute?
you. How do we know they're not living in a hole underneath the volcano when there's not a super race of them? We don't know that yet. You're jumping to conclusions
fire
here.
Monkey over and over. We found monkeys. We found squids. I don't know as much about squids, and squids aren't cuddly and cute. But
they're smart, though.
I know. So, found a new squid.
So, two
found a new
fairly
monkey.
intelligent species right there.
I
Boom.
know. Pretty excited.
Yeah. So
Are squids intelligent?
I believe octopi are highly intelligent.
That's true.
Crazy intelligent.
Because there's that one that was in an aquarium that kept...
You can YouTube the video of they put one in a jar, and he could rotate himself and unscrew the top of the jar.
Well, first of all,
that's
jerks for putting him in a jar.
No, it wasn't like a mayonnaise jar. This is a big...
Okay.
No. Okay, no. This wasn't the jar you find at the store. This was a big, like 5 or 6 gallon sized, but it had a screw lid, right?
Yeah.
The octopus, and y'all YouTube this, the octopus connected himself to the screw lid and rotated himself
to get out.
Yeah. And get out.
There was another one, and it may be on YouTube, but there was another one that he figured out how to fling things out of the aquarium.
Nice.
To hit a light switch.
Whoa.
I know. Yeah, so I guess they are smart.
Yeah.
He was basically screwing with his keepers that he could hit a light switch and turn lights on and off. Yeah.
Wow. If they had opposable thumbs that could breathe outside, could you imagine?
Oh, if they had opposable thumbs, we would not be top of the food chain.
I mean, they really don't even... I mean, if you have 8 arms, do you really need opposable thumbs?
Things Ryan Campbell thinks about it at the crack of dawn.
But, I mean, seriously, though, I mean... There are some creatures on this earth that are, I don't know that we're smarter than they are. I mean, they just live in a different environment we do.
And they don't have opposable thumbs. Thank God.
Thank God.
So that's good news.
Like monkeys, which is why Planet of the Apes can never happen. Ryan Campbell.
Okay, so, you know those goofy Facebook quizzes, like 40 things?
Yes.
They're going around right now.
Clickbait.
And no, that like your friends fill out.
Yeah, that's how we met.
I like those because,
re-met.
That was the things I hate, which is really interesting. But, re-met.
The Beatles are overrated.
Is re-met a word?
I don't think I just coined it.
Okay, all right. But anyway, one of them's going around, and I was reading people's, and I'm aware that I am weird because I love monkeys so much, because one of the questions was favorite animal. One friend put, don't have one. One friend put, I think, otters or something. And in my mind, I'm like, I got to fill this out, but it was all caps, like Donald Trump, like monkeys with like 6 exclamation points. Like, yeah, I love monkeys. So if I get to see a fire monkey, I'm all about that.
If we can call it the fire monkey.
Squad goals.
Right. I also think it would help it get attention, because you know how some animals are just naturally regarded as cuter than, like pandas are cuter than pigs, let's be honest, right? So if there were endangered pandas, you could raise a lot of money for pandas.
There are endangered pandas.
I know that, but I'm saying mentally and psychologically, people will raise money for cute animals before they will an ugly animal, let's be honest, right?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Okay. So if we name it the fire monkey, I think that's good marketing.
I think it's actually called like the Pila monkey, Pula.
No. You got to come up. We need to...
Fire monkey.
This is not... You don't even have to hire a publicist for this. It's called the fire monkey. So you were talking about the internet and Facebook stuff a while ago. So there's a thing out there floating around called Section 230. That's being banted about like a badminton birdie.
It's been around, actually, since we were in college. Section 230 is part of, I think it's the Communications Decency Act that was enacted in 96, and it was supposed to keep minors from naughty things on the internet.
Good luck with that.
I know, right? Oh, they could see it now. They probably do. But it was supposed to keep underage kids from seeing things they shouldn't. And Section 230 is a portion that basically, in layman's terms, keeps platforms from being held accountable for things that are shown or dispersed on their platforms. So basically, like if there was the video of, there was a guy who live streamed on YouTube several years ago, a mass shooter, and they took it down, but they're not held responsible if he incites other people to violence. You can basically Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, they're not held accountable for anything on their website, and they're protected by this. Democrats actually wrote it, but then I think they realized that they had unleashed a monster, and so in various forms and fashions they have been trying to limit it in the past few years, and it hasn't gotten a lot of attention. Let's face it, it's not very sexy. But Donald Trump actually has started talking about it. He got mad at Twitter back in May, and then, this past weekend he got really mad at Twitter because #DiaperDawn was trending. And so he's been calling for it to be repealed or changed. so that social media and other websites are held accountable. Funny thing is, it's one thing that he and President-elect Biden are actually in agreement on, because several months ago, Biden actually said that Section 230 should be just taken away. That basically the websites should be held accountable for what they are allowing to be dispersed. So pretty interesting stuff.
So there appears to be some bipartisan support for at least revamping it, if not doing away with it entirely.
I don't know if they could do away with it entirely in any fashion, but it does seem like there are more and more people calling for the platforms to be held accountable. It is why you see Jack Dorsey and Mark Zuckerberg trotted out in front of Congress every other month, and Ted Cruz gets to get on his high horse.
Yes.
But it's but it boils down to this section,
right?
Because they need to be held accountable. Nothing ever happens though. Like they do the grandstanding, they do the talking.
That is true.
And then nothing ever happens.
Because I watch them when they bring Dorsey and Lizard guy. What's his name?
Oh, Zuckerberg.
Facebook Zuckerberg.
He makes me believe Alex Jones might be onto something.
Yeah, exactly right. If there's a lizard person out there that's an evil person that's behind the curtain,
Zuckerberg,
it's going to be Zuckerberg.
And possibly Bezos.
Possibly, yes. So yeah, I can totally believe that. But yeah, I've seen him in front of the Senate committee twice, I think now.
And nothing's happened.
And now nothing's going to happen that fast anyway. But point is, it's like, okay, now what are we going to do? But I would like to see serious business. I would like to see the people that are on the younger side of Congress, and it needs to be bipartisan. You need to have Republicans and Democrats coming up with a plan of it. And when I say younger side, I know who
you don't mean Mitch McConnell?
No, I don't mean Mitch McConnell. I don't mean what's her name, Nancy Pelosi.
I mean the Tulsi Gabbards, the AOCs,
not even AOC. She's too dumb. Dan Crenshaw. I don't trust her. I don't trust AOC's intelligence at all. But younger folks.
Why? Because she was a bartender?
No, it has nothing to do with she was a bartender. Okay. I've worked in a liquor store. She says dumb stuff that has nothing to do with you. She knows nothing about the U.S. Constitution. Tulsi Gabbard does.
She's way out there, but my point is this is something that pretty much all of them could come to an agreement on.
Yes.
All of them, no matter how far out there on either side.
Correct. And that's what I'm saying. It needs to be the younger generation because they're going to get tech more. They're going to understand it a little better. And so we need to figure out what we're going to do with this without limiting free speech and without, editing what,
I think that's where we really have to look at the First Amendment, because I know you get sick of me saying we all sign terms and conditions without looking at them, but Facebook is not the First Amendment. First Amendment is government can't limit speech. If
that is a hard thing to explain to people.
Yeah.
Yes. You don't have First Amendment on Facebook. It doesn't work that way.
You signed those terms and conditions, lady. Yeah.
Because the First Amendment applies to, follow me here, government restrictions on your speech.
Courthouse steps.
So
literally.
Right, exactly. 100%. So when you post something on, now it's annoying that when you say something like, I think the president sucks, or I think Biden sucks, or I think so-and-so sucks, whatever, you all of a sudden some fact checker thing at the bottom is like, bitch, I don't need you fact checking me. So
I think that you could, I'd be curious. I think you could say someone sucks. I don't think they fact check you. I think if you say Trump is a lizard person, Biden's a lizard person, you might get fact checked.
Is this true?
Might not.
This is mostly true. Partially true.
But so I think that Section 230, I really don't think that it impinges on or impedes people's First Amendment rights, because then you also have to look at, are we treating corporations as people? Because First Amendment applies to citizens. So if we're saying that Facebook is a citizen, that's scary.
It's scary.
So there are layers to it. It's not as simple as it seems, but I even listened to a podcast the other day about 230, and it was, I've got to start taking notes on the podcast I listen to. And
I know, me too, because
I think it was, I think it was on the...
But I don't have time. I mean, who has time to sit there and go,
because I'm driving.
Right.
Usually. But it was Tim Ferriss. It was one of his guests, and he was talking about basically there have been ideas out there floated with the Section 230 that... Let's say that Facebook, let's say YouTube is one of the biggest abusers of this, Facebook too, but let's say they let a video out there that is inciting violence, that is doing something that is actually harmful to society,
Sure.
they knowingly let it out there because it's getting hits, they're getting paid, start charging them per hit. Like a fine, basically. Like,
Right.
let's say a penny per hit. If they get 5,000 hits, no biggie, YouTube will pay it. If they get 5 million hits, YouTube's going to start paying attention to what they're letting out there.
When the internet was new, as far as people having it in their home and personal computers and all that, I had a friend who would send me videos of stuff that you don't even see this stuff anymore. Like,
you've told me about that.
People dying and things like that.
Oh, horrible stuff.
Bad stuff.
Yeah.
You don't see that at least I don't.
You can see it on the latest version of 4chan because 4chan isn't even a thing now. Yeah. You can see it on like
I'm not doing that on my search history.
No, you don't need that. But you can still see that stuff on dark web, and sometimes you can see it quickly on YouTube because they're not always quick enough.
Well, yeah, you could post a riot or a murder happening somewhere, and it'd be up for 10, 15 minutes.
Mind, because think about before the internet, you would have never seen anything like that.
No, never. But that's the way it is now.
So that'll be interesting to watch because the drumbeat is getting louder to do something about that. And I think that Zuckerberg and Dorsey, among others, know it. So
there's a freshman woman from Colorado. Her name is, I hope I'm saying it right. It's Lauren Boebert. Is that right? Boebert?
I think it's Boebert.
Who has said that she's going to be, and this is actually legal on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol, she's going to be carrying a gun in Washington, D.C. So we'll see how that goes.
So she is one of 2 people elected in November that actively endorse QAnon conspiracies.
Not really.
Thank you.
It's like when Alex Jones is criticizing QAnon, you have ran afoul of reality.
But she really is actively endorsing some of QAnon's stranger theories. Mm-hmm. So the gun thing is interesting to me because, as you pointed out, you can't carry guns in D.C. So I'm curious how that's going to work, even logistically.
I read it yesterday. They exempted themselves from the law on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol.
But what's she going to do if she wants to go get lunch at a diner when diners open up again?
Not only that, the picture I saw showed her open carrying, which I'm totally opposed to. So I'm opposed to it on a personal level, not on a legal level.
Because it's stupid.
So just shut up about it. Don't say anything. Carry your Glock 19 inside your waistband and wear a jacket over it. You're going to be fine.
And why are we opposed to open carry? I agree with you 100% on this.
Because you can still get sucker. You can be at the diner eating your eggs and bacon. Somebody comes up behind you, hits you with something, and guess what? Your gun is theirs now.
And if there's a bad guy in the room and he sees you open carrying, who's the first person he's going to take out?
You're target number 1.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm glad you've got your training that you've had letting you know all this stuff now. That's awesome. Glad you went through all that. Speaking of getting hit, there was an Iranian scientist that has just been clipped, whacked, as they would say in the business.
And according to experts, Middle East experts, former diplomats, they are saying that it could possibly be to make things a little thornier for Biden. They're not there. I think that Israel is being blamed for it, but there are people who are saying that the U.S. might have had part in it. I am not a fan of
If
Iran.
I were guessing, we probably provided this is a pure guess, conjecture on my part, not based on any real knowledge.
It'll come out in the next few days.
We probably provided the intel. The Israelis probably pulled the trigger.
Nobody pulled the trigger. It was a remote-controlled machine
push the button.
gun.
Somebody somewhere. They had to click left.
Remote-controlled machine gun. Like, if you read the details of it, it's actually pretty crazy.
How cool is that?
It's pretty crazy. But it'll be interesting the next few days to see what comes out of it. God, I need another cup of coffee.
Me too.
Yeah, they say it will make it harder for Biden to pursue any sort of peace. And this is where we're going to have to agree to disagree, because I think that you can't exclude an entire country when you're embracing another country that's doing the exact same thing or further along. I think it has to be part of the peace process. And make no mistake, even if we disagree with the Iranian uppers, the Iranian people themselves
I have no beef with the Iranian people.
Absolutely amazing. And so
I have beef with the Ayatollahs and the whoever they put as a puppet president and whatever
which
else.
We helped install many, many years ago.
Beg your pardon, madam.
So we've got to figure out a way we can't embrace North Korea and write them love letters while punishing.
Yes, we so can.
Iran.
I want to write Kim Jong-un a letter. I want to run a marathon in North Korea. How awesome would that be? Didn't you say he's got a new girlfriend?
I've got no words for that. Yeah, North Korea, Kim Jong-un. You asked me if I was reading gossip columns. I don't know if there's a lot of gossip columns about North Korea.
Is there in North Korea?
But apparently his wife has not been seen for several months.
Is there a People magazine North Korean version?
I'd be curious to see that. But yeah, his wife has not been seen for several months. His sister, they were saying that she might start having some more responsibilities, and suddenly she hasn't been seen for
she was the one that was at the Olympics a couple years ago.
Scary.
In Seoul.
But yeah, she hasn't been seen for a hot minute after it seemed like she was taking some power.
Right.
So, but he's got like a 21, 22-year-old former Korean pop star on his side. So. Yeah.
I think that's what we should recycle our old, like Britney Spears. That means we're done with her. Let's send her to North Korea. How awesome would that be?
Don't get me started on. I love Britney Spears.
What?
I love Britney Spears.
And Christina Aguilera. We could just send
Britney
her
Spears.
there.
I don't really care about her. Britney Spears. That is a sad story.
No,
her dad, just actually went to. I think it went to like a state Supreme Court or something recently. That her dad. She wants another conservator, because her dad is so. She's fit to work, but she's not fit to have a debit card. Her dad has control of everything, and she's like mid-30s.
Well, she's got a case of the batshits.
She doesn't really. No, that's offensive because probably 1 in 4 people who are listening to us have some sort of diagnosable mental.
I can say that because.
But, so I don't like calling her batshit. Like she has a mental disorder, and that's So I don't like calling her batshit.
Okay, sorry. My bad. But we could use her as a national asset to send her to North Korea. How cool would that be?
Why don't you go to North Korea?
Hell yeah, I'll go to North Korea. I would go to North Korea in a heartbeat if I knew I'd come back alive and be a diplomat and like organize or have an international race. And yeah, as long as I could run with my Texas flag shorts, hell yes.
You know they don't feed their people, so there's no racing.
There is. You get like Gatorade to sponsor it and Cliff Bars and all that stuff.
You have lost your blooming mind.
You start getting commercial stuff like that, and you start getting a spotlight, and you start getting capitalism brought in, and things start getting better. You start shining a spotlight on it. You don't pull light away from it.
So there's this blood test that I want you to take. On that note,
Robyn is correct.
And Ryan is right.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.